A young woman connects her Neuralink to a private mainframe as bullets fly around her. Here inside the mainframe, she controls everything. Every little secret is hers. With a single thought, she floods her assailants' HUDs with images of Tusk interplanetary data, blocking their vision and disrupting their aim. That's right, I'm talking about the hacker. This one has taken a lot longer than all of the others. But before we get into it, be sure to subscribe and click that bell if you like this kind of content. Get all the notifications of upcoming videos on this channel. All social media links are down below, including Dragon Turtle Games, the fine creators of Carbon 2185, a cyberpunk RPG. And as always, the music and sounds you hear in the background are Syrinscape. For all your tabletop gaming needs, be sure to check them out as well. This is not sponsored. Hashtag no ad. So we're looking at the hacker, okay? And we got botnets, we got exploits, we got a bunch of different things we're going to get through. And we're going to kind of jump around a little bit. So if you're trying to follow along in the core rulebook, it may not be laid out as such. For nearly 100 years, network hackers have been the bane of corporate existence. Hackers learn their skills from the generation that came before, and by experimentation on the newest technology. These technophiles spend way too much time sitting on the dark net, discussing the newest, most illegal forms of technology. To fund their obsession, most hackers turn to crime. But not all, most, which doubles as a great testing ground for their newest ideas. To keep themselves safe during these operations, hackers often join a crew of cyberpunks, where they get quick training in the basic use of sidearms and other street survival tactics. Now, as always, when creating your hacker, be sure to sit with your GM to discuss things like where did they learn their skills? Do they have a mentor? Were they completely on their own? What happened to them if they did have a mentor? All these different types of things will add flavor to your hacker. Be sure to come up with a great backstory. Hacker backstories are the greatest, right? In my opinion, my honest opinion. But first up, we're going to get right into the hit points. Get 1d8 per hacker level as your hit die. Your hit points at first level are 8 plus your constitution modifier. At higher levels, it's 1d8 or 5 plus your constitution modifier after first level. Proficiencies. As we do here, we'll get into your starting proficiencies. You get light armor and helmets, melee weapons, pistols, submachine guns, and shotguns. Your saving throw is of the mind. And the skills, you can choose 3 from computing, hacking, medicine, sense, motive, stealth, vehicles, both land and air. And as always, feel free to stop at any time in the video or rewind to review those. I'm going a little too fast for you. Next up, the proficiency table. You can see over to the right your exploits known and the botnet uses. I would kind of like to compare these to spells a little bit, where you have your spell slots and how many spells you can use per day. In addition to that, your botnets, right? The exploits are like your spells, how many you know. The botnets are your slots, how many you're able to use, right? We're going to get into this a ton. This is one of the reasons why this video is the longest out of all of the classes, okay? There's a lot to talk about. But as you can see at a quick glance, first level through 10th level, the features you'll get, your bonus proficiencies, exploits, and botnets. Speaking of exploits, we're going to jump right into it. And I did this a little bit different here, but you'll see it in a minute. Starting at first level, you're able to perform exploits using available botnets. These exploits are special kind of hacks that you can perform to gain some kind of advantage over your enemies or environment. Obviously, as you grow in knowledge, you're able to control more botnets. Think spell slots, right? And represented by your botnet's usable column back on that proficiency table that we had just shown. Some exploits require a saving throw from those affected. Saving throw for your exploits is 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your tech modifier. Let's going to jump right into the actual exploit list. So, I'm not going to really read through all of these because we'll be here for like 4 hours. So I'm just going to read the name of them. Feel free to pause at any time on your screen. I'm going to try and keep these under 20 minutes, and we're at 5 already. So let's get right to it. First up in this exploit list, this is your first round that you're going to be able to choose from. You'll be able to use. Feel free to pause the video at any time. Comms blackout. Computer interface. Create distraction. Exploding grenade. Hack mech. Overcrowded HUD. Then the last one up is going to be tracking, I believe. No, there's ping echo and white noise after these two. So ping echo and white noise. Again, feel free to pause at any time or rewind back and take a quick look. Kind of jumping around a little bit here. Next up, we're going to talk about the hacker specialty. So in addition to your exploits and botnets, get to pick your specialties. And this comes in at 3rd level. So first up is the combat hacker. Combat hacker focuses on combining gunplay with hacking exploits to control the battlefield and take out enemies. Weapon proficiency. So this is at 3rd level. You can select this archetype and make you proficient with 1 weapon. Okay. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit about your fighting style. As a combat hacker, you adopt a particular style of fighting as your specialty. Choose a style from the list below. You can't take the same fighting style more than once, even if you get to choose it again. So we've seen this before in another class. Be sure to check out all my classes videos here on the channel. But first up is Marksman. +2 bonus to attack rolls you make with ranged weapons. Second up is Defense. While you're wearing armor, you gain +1 bonus to armor class. Last up is the Point Blank Shooter. You suffer no penalties from making ranged attacks at close range. When making a ranged attack while you're within 5 feet of the target, you do not have disadvantage on the attack roll. That could be very, very handy. Beginning at 5th level, you get extra attack, which means you can attack twice. Simple as it looks. Then you get into Neurotoxic Weapons. You've learned to treat your weapons with a special chemical designed to disconnect a creature from its neural augmentation. Now this is endgame 10th level stuff, but you deal an additional 1d6 psychic damage to the first creature you hit with a melee or ranged weapon attack a turn. That could get very dicey in certain situations, so beware of your combat hacker. The next specialty up that we're going to talk about is the Robomancer. Gives you advanced robotics to aid in and out of combat. So, robotics proficiency comes in at level 3, and you gain the proficiency with robotics and mechanics skills. Next up is the Robotic Companion. At 3rd level, you're able to construct a robotic companion that is neural linked to you. With 4 hours of work and 75,000 longs of material, you're able to construct a companion to aid you. You can select your robotic companion from the following 2 options: a multi-rotor combat drone and canine mech. This class could have ballooned out of control with a video here, and I'm just keeping it down to a minimum. So if you feel at any time you want to know what a multi-rotor combat drone or canine mech is, they are self-explanatory from the descriptions I just gave, but feel free to check them out in the core rulebook. Dragon Turtle Game social links down below. You can find the CRB over there. Pay him a visit. As you built it, programmed the AI, you determine the personality of the robotic companion, and you can only have 1 robotic companion at a time. If it is destroyed, you're able to repair it or rebuild it with 2 hours of work and 25,000 longs. That brings us down into the companion bond. Your companion rolls its own initiative, but you control it. It obeys your commands you send as best as it can. And I say as best as it can because there could possibly be interference. Be sure to discuss with your GM. Your companion has advanced AI and is capable of making its own decisions if you cannot command it. Obviously, it is not sentient, so it will not be running around doing its own thing. But your companion uses your proficiency bonus in place of its own. It also adds half your level rounded up to its AC and damage rolls, and is considered proficient with all saving rolls. Now you can also telepathically communicate with your companion via your Neuralink. As an action, you can see and hear what it does until the start of your next turn. While doing so, your actual body is blind and deaf though, so note that down. Each time you gain a new level, the Robotic Companion gains an additional hit die, a new hit points. When you gain a character improvement, your companion also gains character improvement. This is the biggest class. It's one of the biggest classes in the game. Cannot express it enough. We actually may have to go into some detailed companion creations as well. If you'd like to see something like that, please let me know down in the comments below. Be more than happy to get into some drone building. Well, I call it drone building, but it's not really drones, right? Especially the canine mech. So next up, after Companion Bond coming in at 5th level, we get Team Attack. Whenever you take the attack action on your turn, your companion can use its reaction to perform an attack simultaneously. Double the pleasure, triple the fun, okay? Next up, we're going to talk about the Advanced Processing Units. This is endgame 10th level. You may construct and use an additional robotic companion. See why I'm hinting at making another video of this? Because this could be intense. You must issue the same command to both of your companions via your Neuralink, but you can telepathically communicate with your robotic companions. As an action, you can see and hear what they do until the start of your next turn. Again, your body is blind and deaf while doing so, but that is huge. Having two companions that can also act with you, you can see both of their surroundings through telepathic communication. That's that's a big one, gotta say. So take your time, jump into the core rulebook, check it out if you need to. Now we're going to talk quickly about your exploit upgrades. Here you'll see a little bit differently. I tossed it up onto the screen so you can actually see that. Reading through each of them is going to be a little crazy, but as you grow, so do your exploits. They upgrade, and you can see all of the different ones, like your comms, blackout, computer interface, create distraction, etc. It's that same list that we begin to discuss initially, but now, as you level up, so do your exploits. And this comes in at level 5. They just basically all become more powerful. So feel free to pause at any time to look at those in detail. Final piece of your exploits is the Mastery, and this comes in at level 9. You are able to gain access to Expert Exploits. You may now consider Expert Exploits as an option when learning new exploits. These work in the same way as your current, but are significantly more powerful, being that they are endgame level 10. So, Master Ghosting, we'll talk about these a little bit. I could not grab these screenshots like the first because they are huge. But a quick, learn to take control of your target's neural network. Choose one creature you can see in range. It must succeed on a mind saving throw or be ghosted by you for the duration. At 60 feet and endure of 1 minute. You can specify simple commands such as attack that man, run over there, fetch that object, etc. This one could come in very handy at higher levels. Be sure to discuss with your GM. Next up is your Augment Paralysis. Using a process similar to ghosting, you take control of a creature's augmentations. Cause joints to harden, muscles to spasm, stiffen. So, your target must succeed a mind saving throw on this or be paralyzed for the duration. At the end of each of its turns, the target can make another mind saving throw. On success, the effect ends. Targets made entirely of metal and those with augmentations on all 4 limbs have disadvantage on the saving throw. That's a big one. Make sure you wind that back and make a mental note. Speaking of mental manipulation. You attempt to reshape another person's memories. One creature of your choice that you can see must make a mind saving throw. If you're fighting the creature, it has advantage on the saving throw. On a failed save, the target becomes ghosted for the duration. The ghosted target is incapacitated and unaware of its surroundings, though it can still hear you. If the target takes any damage during the duration, this effect ends, and none of the target's memories are modified. While the ghosted condition lasts, you can affect the target's memory of an event that it experienced within the last 24 hours, and that lasted no more than 10 minutes. That's the big chunk right there, okay? You can affect a memory within the last 24 hours that is no longer than 10 minutes. You can permanently eliminate all memory of the event, allow the target to recall the event with perfect clarity and exacting detail, change its memory of the details, and so on and so forth. So this is something as a GM that I would be very open to homebrewing as a guide, because mental manipulation can come in different forms depending on, are they fully there, are they in psychosis, close to being cyberpsychosis, different types of things. I would probably loop in some heavily influenced homebrew Cyberpunk 2020/Red stuff on this one. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit about the master computer interface. So this one is pretty simple. When you're within 10 feet of a computer terminal of any security rating, you may interface with that computer to gain additional information. You may ask GM one question that the computer would know. Next, we talk about HUD Manipulation. Now, in the core book, it says the interpersonal HUD manipulation software, but I dumbed it down a little bit for HUD manipulation because that big, long word did not fit. So this effect allows you to change the appearance of any number of creatures that you can see within range. This effect is only visible through a HUD. Each target you choose appears on the HUD of all individuals on scanning software within range. An unwilling target can make a mind saving throw, and if it succeeds, it's unaffected by this effect. The effect disguises physical appearance as well as clothing, armor, weapons, equipment, etc. You can make each creature seem 1 foot shorter or 1 foot taller, appear thin or fat or in between. You can't change the target's body type, so you must choose a form that has the same basic arrangement of limbs, otherwise the extent of the effect is up to you. Essentially, that statement right there. The extent of the effect is up to you. Please discuss with your GM. Obviously, you can't make a man look like a dog or a dog look like a man, etc. Those are things that you're restricted by. And this goes quite deep into a bunch of different things here, so bear with me. The changes wrought by this effect fail to hold up to physical inspection. Somebody comes up closely. Hat to a creature's outfit. For example, if you use this exploit to add a hat to a creature's outfit, objects pass through the hat, and anyone who touches it would feel nothing or would feel the creature's natural head, etc. Basically a hologram. The creature can use its action to inspect a target and make an intelligence investigation check against your exploit save DC. If it succeeds, it becomes aware that the target is disguised. A creature that uses only mechanical vision, augmented eyes, mechs, or scanning software makes this check at a disadvantage. Remember that. And there's a couple of different things that we didn't discuss, as we've done in the other class videos, at additional levels. Going to get a few other things that aren't necessarily tied to any other particular aspect of the hacker. What you will get is healing. Just stand there and heal me. You're able to hack together a basic version of a medical implant using illicit plans stolen or bought from the net, or create it on your own, however you want to flavor it with your GM. Using an action, you touch a creature. That creature gains a number of hit points equal to 1d8 plus your tech ability modifier. And use this ability twice before completing a short or long rest. Redistribution. This one is at 2nd level, and as a reaction, when you or an ally that you can see rolls damage for an attack that hits, you can add any of your unused hit dice to the damage roll. Adding your hit dice to the damage roll spends those hit dice. Very good to know. As with other classes, your character improvement. For the hacker, it comes in at 4th level and again at 8th level, and it's just like the others. You can increase one ability score by 2, or 2 ability scores by 1. Coming close to the end here, but next we're going to talk about universal training. Your ability to get quick access to multiple fields of study pays off. Coming in at 6th level, you can add half your proficiency bonus, rounded down obviously, to any ability check. Doesn't already include your proficiency bonus, obviously, so if something that already includes it, can't do it. Coming in on the home stretch now, Rapid Reset comes in at 7th level. And you have the ability to quickly reset your augmentations. You are immune to the ghosted condition, and you gain advantage on saving throws against effects that target your augmentations. Very important to a hacker who's highly augmented. That's going to bring us to the end of the hacker class. Appreciate everybody stopping by. This one is quite a bit longer than the others, coming in just over 20 minutes. Appreciate you hanging out, checking it out. If there's any questions, be sure to shout me out down in the comments below. Try to answer them as best as I can when they come through. All social media links are below for myself, as well as Dragon Turtle Games. And be sure to check out Syrinscape for all your tabletop gaming needs. This is not a paid ad. I love them that much that I use them for lots of other things as outside of tabletop. So, next up in our series is more than likely going to be the Investigator. So, I appreciate your patience with getting this one out there. This was a big one. And we'll see you next time. Stay alive, all my real rats, cool cats, and chumbas.